It all began with a laminated noticey official looking, complete with the Hillside Haven HOA seal and a watermark of an eagle clutching pruning shears that slapped me harder than Monday itself. Sir, you're being fined $50,000 for non-compliant grass length, unapproved mailbox paint, and the presence of a suspiciously whimsical garden gnome. I stood barefoot in my driveway, coffee in one hand and disbelief in the other, reading it 3 times to make sure I hadn't drifted into a fever dream. At first, I thought it was my prankster cousin Malo is the same guy who once shrink-wrapped my Jeep, but no. This was all too real. That's when I knew I was entering a battle I hadn't started but was damn sure ready to finish. 3 weeks earlier, life had been quiet and peaceful. I'd carved out a steady routine at the edge of Hillside Haven, a suburb so pristine it looked like a showroom catalog mixed with Stepford vibes. I'm Lucas Grant, structural engineer by trade, bridge fixer by choice, and not one to stress over seasonal wreaths. I bought this property 10 years ago from a retired highway supervisor who tossed in a deal too good to refuse. A cozy home, a detached workshop, and a strange little clause in the deed I own the main access road into the neighborhood. Back then, it was just a quirky detail. The road was paved, the neighbors were chill, and no one made a fuss. Until last year when the HOA got a makeover courtesy of Jocelyn Ward. Jocelyn drove a leased Range Rover she couldn't afford, wore sunglasses the size of dinner plates, and had a voice that could strip varnish. Her passion? Not gardening, not bake sales, domination. And apparently, I was her chosen nemesis. The letter came on a bright Monday, hand-delivered by a tween who looked like he'd been bribed with Robux. "Good luck," he muttered, already halfway down the block before I could reply. I tore the envelope open. First line, $150,000 in fines for overgrown weeds, non-neutral decor, and me personal favorite unlicensed patio seating. The kicker? I wasn't even in the HOA. Never joined. Never signed. Never agreed to anything. Still, I tried reasoning. I marched down to their officia, sad beige trailer pretending to be a civic building, and asked for clarification. There she was, Jocelyn, flanked by 2 henchmen who looked like security guard school dropouts. She didn't look up. "Lucas Grant, here to beg for mercy," she said, clicking her pen like a gavel. "I'm not in your HOA. My property was never part of your covenant, and I've never signed a single agreement," I replied, calm as concrete. She smiled like a viper. "If you live here, you follow the rules. Keeps things tidy. Legally, I don't," I said, sliding my deed her way. She barely glanced. Rules are rules. Take it up with the board next quarter. And that's when I realized this wasn't about lawns or gnomes. It was about control. She picked the wrong guy. I left, drove straight to the county recorder's office, and within 2 hours, I had a certified deed proving I owned the main road into Hillside Haven, built in the 70s, never transferred, no easement, no compensation. Sitting in my truck, I grinned like I just struck oil. Something inside me clicked the good kind of snap when you realize the upper hand is yours. I wasn't just going to fight back. I was going to win. I called my Uncle Ray, a retired contractor with a love for both demolition and practical jokes. "Remember the toll booth prank from '99? Time for a sequel." He laughed so hard I thought he might choke. By dawn, we were sketching plans, sourcing a vintage toll booth from an abandoned amusement park, wiring it with a license plate scanner and a solar-powered gate. Glorious. Petty. Legally bulletproof. My lawyer, Denise, nearly spit out her tea when I ran it by her. "They fined you $150,000 while freeloading on your road? Toll it up by the weekend." While the HOA prepped for their hillside consistency inspection, I poured concrete, ran power, and posted signs. "Private road, toll, starts Monday. $3 entry, $15 for board members. Residents get free access with a waiver rejecting HOA authority." Come Monday, I stood by the booth, coffee in hand, my gnome Waldo beside me on a pedestal. Jocelyn's Range Rover screeched up. Her jaw dropped. She leaned out, shrieking, "You can't do this." "Canon law," I replied, tapping the sign. "You said rules matter, right?" Behind her, Mr. Dorsey, retired, Velcro, sandals waited patiently, blinking at the spectacle. Jocelyn flailed her arms. I sipped my coffee. Residents with waivers cruised through, waving. Others paid the toll. HOA board members? $15 a Pope a tribute to Jocelyn's notorious $15 fine for Mrs. Lis Festiva por Vort. You're causing a traffic hazard, she yelled. Check the deed. I own this, I said. Shared it freely until you billed me for whimsical gnomes. She jabbed a finger. Extortion, says the queen of the half-inch fence violation. She shrieked about lawsuits. Call me the end of civility. Meanwhile, drivers kept rolling through. Then came the retaliation. Compliance officers appeared. Jocelyn, her yes-man Greg, and polo-wearing Bonnie strolled up with clipboards. New violations, she barked. Not your jurisdiction, I said, holding up the waiver. Smile for the camera. They retreated, but Jocelyn wasn't done. She dropped flyers across mailboxes calling me a toll bandit and claimed I was siphoning community funds. I posted her blog entry next to the toll booth, captioned, $150,000 fines VS. $3 toll. Who's the real crook? The neighborhood chat blew up. Fed-up neighbors started quitting the HOA. I offered toll exemptions for those who opted out. People lined up. One trucker tried to bypass via my lawn and got stopped by retractable spikes. Pay at the booth, the sign read. The video? Viral. Jocelyn doubled HOA fees to cover legal damages. I filed for back rent $190,000 based on decades of unpermitted road use. The county supported my claim. Neighbors cheered. Jocelyn panicked. Tried to build a bypass across public green space. A drone caught it. I tipped zoning. Shut down instantly. She resorted to fake injunctions, printed with the name of her casina disbarred judge. Didn't matter. Officer Reyes walked in her next meeting and said the words I'd been waiting for. Jocelyn Ward, you're under arrest for trespassing, vandalism, and filing fraudulent documents. She froze, cuffed and glaring. HOA leadership crumbled. I declined the offer to dissolve everything instead. I took an apology, waived fines, retained road rights, and guaranteed no more HOA rule over me. Weeks later, Hillside Haven changed. Gnomes popped up. Mailboxes turned into art. A windmill spun, just for kicks. My booth stayed, repurposed into a free coffee stop. Waldo still on guard. At Saturday brew time, a kid asked, "Is the toll real?" Only, I said, grinning, if Jocelyn ever comes back. Peace. With a gate, grit, and a gnome.